Let me ask you, what is it you truly desire for your career? Is it security? Is it freedom? Or is it the burning urge to finally step into the role that feels like destiny itself? The path of career is not built by chance. It is built by laws, invisible but powerful, eternal and unbreakable. Let us walk through them together today. The first is the law of the spoken word. What you speak about your future sets it in motion. If you say, "I'll never get the job I want," the universe agrees. But if you dare to declare, "I am ready for the role designed for me," what are you saying about your career right now? Are you declaring that you are capable, worthy, and ready, or are you speaking doubt, fear, and hesitation? Every word that escapes your lips is not a casual sound. It is a command to the universe, a decree shaping the very structure of your reality. The spoken word is not empty breath. It is the architect of destiny. Think of it this way: every time you say, "I can't find a job," you are planting a seed that grows into a tree of lack. And every time you say, "The right position is coming to me now," you are planting a seed that blossoms into opportunity. Which garden do you want to walk in tomorrow? The barren field of your complaints, or the flourishing garden of your affirmations? The power of the spoken word lies not only in what you say to others, but also in what you whisper to yourself in moments of solitude. Do you wake in the morning and sigh, "I'll never get ahead"? Or do you rise and declare, "This day carries my opportunity, and I am prepared to seize it"? Words are like codes, activating unseen currents that align events, people, and circumstances with the vibrations you release. Why is this true? Because words are sound, and sound is energy. Energy shapes form. When you speak, you give life to thoughts that would otherwise remain invisible. A thought unspoken remains a shadow in the mind. A thought spoken aloud becomes a living force. That is why careless words carry so much danger. Every complaint is a prophecy. Every negative declaration a curse upon your own path. You may laugh at a bitter joke about your failure, but the universe does not laugh, it obeys. Consider the job seeker who enters an interview murmuring, "I'll probably fail." What happens? Their energy collapses, their confidence fades, their words stumble. The interviewer senses hesitation, doubt, insecurity, and rejection follows, not because they lacked skill, but because their own spoken prophecy created the failure. Now, imagine another who walks in declaring, "This is the right space for me, and I am worthy of this role." Their voice carries certainty, their answers shine, their presence inspires. The result is vastly different, and it all begins with the spoken decree. What do you declare daily about your finances? Do you say, "Money never stays with me"? If so, you have written the script for your financial struggles. What if instead you said, "Money flows to me with ease, and I use it wisely and gratefully"? Can you see how the entire vibration of your life shifts the moment your words align with abundance? Let us not forget the subtle power of words spoken in anger or despair. How many people cry out, "I hate my job"? And what happens? Their work becomes unbearable, their co-workers become intolerable, and their opportunities dry up. Was it fate? Or was it the curse they cast upon themselves with their own lips? And how many people sigh, "I'll never get hired, I'll never succeed"? Do you see how that single phrase becomes a wall, blocking the very flow of possibility? Now ask yourself, what if you reversed the curse? What if you began declaring, even before proof appears, "I love the opportunities ahead of me. I am always in the right place at the right time. The work that is meant for me seeks me even now"? Do you feel the difference? Can you sense how your heart begins to rise, how hope awakens, how possibility seems to draw nearer the moment you speak those words? This is not wishful thinking. It is alignment with a universal law. The spoken word carries weight in the unseen. When you declare truth in faith, it echoes in realms you cannot see and returns to you in form. Doors open, people appear, Emails arrive and chance encounters unfold, all seemingly by coincidence, yet in reality, each one is an answer to the decree you set in motion with your tongue. But beware, the law works both ways. It does not discriminate between positive and negative. Say, I always attract the wrong jobs, and the wrong jobs will find you. Say, no one values my skills, and you will meet people who undervalue you at every turn. The law does not ask if your words are good or bad. It simply manifests what you affirm. That is why your discipline in speech is so critical. Guard your tongue as though it were the key to your destiny, because it is. Have you noticed how successful people often speak differently? They use words of confidence, vision, and certainty. They say, this project will succeed. They say, I'm building something meaningful. They say, the right people always show up. And miraculously, things begin to unfold for them exactly as spoken. Is it truly miraculous, or simply obedience to the law of the spoken word? What if you began to practice conscious declarations each day? Before sending out your resume, speak, my skills are valuable and the right employer recognizes them now. Before walking into an interview, say, I am calm, prepared, and radiant with confidence. Before sleeping at night, declare, opportunities are lining up for me while I rest. Do you realize how such a simple practice could transform your outlook, your confidence, and ultimately your career? It is not enough to think it. You must speak it. Thinking plants the seed in your mind. Speaking waters the seed with power. A thought can be doubted, but a spoken word reverberates into reality, strengthening belief and attracting form. That is why ancient wisdom has always said, speak only what you desire to see. For what you see tomorrow will be the harvest of what you declare today. So I ask you again, what words are you sowing into your career path? Are they words of defeat, words of fear, words of lack, or are they words of courage, faith, and destiny? Speak carefully, for your voice is the brush painting your future. Speak boldly, for your word is law, and the universe is listening. Speak faithfully, for every declaration becomes flesh in due season. What do you expect when you wake up in the morning? Do you expect good news, new opportunities, and open doors? Or do you expect another day of struggle, rejection, and disappointment? Expectancy is not a passive state of waiting. It is a force, an invisible magnet drawing into your life the very thing you anticipate. Think of expectation as a seed you carry in your hand. If you expect rain, you carry an umbrella. If you expect sunshine, you wear light clothes. Expectation shapes your preparation, and preparation shapes your outcome. How many job seekers walk into interviews already defeated because they secretly expect rejection? And what happens? Their body language trembles, their answers falter, their energy collapses, and the rejection they dreaded rushes to meet them. Can you see how expectation writes the script of reality? If you expect closed doors, every hallway will feel heavy, every opportunity will look impossible, every conversation will seem hostile. But if you expect open doors, something changes instantly. You stand taller, your words flow smoother, your presence radiates confidence. People around you respond differently because expectation creates an atmosphere that others can feel, even before a single word is spoken. Expectation is faith dressed in everyday clothes. When you expect good, you declare silently, I know good is on its way. When you expect failure, you declare silently, I am preparing for my downfall. Which declaration do you want to live by? Ask yourself, before you submit an application, what do you really expect? Do you press send with the heavy sigh of, they won't even look at me? Or do you press send with the triumphant certainty of, this resume carries the energy of my destiny, and the right eyes will see it? The energy behind the act matters just as much as the act itself. Why is expectation so powerful? Because the mind cannot help but arrange circumstances to match its dominant anticipation. The job seeker who expects rejection procrastinates, applies half-heartedly, and fails to prepare deeply. The one who expects acceptance applies boldly, tailors every detail with care, and walks into interviews prepared to shine. The law is impartial. It simply magnifies whatever you expect. Expectation also programs your subconscious mind. Imagine a person who repeats, "No one ever calls me back." Their subconscious begins to accept this as a fact, so when opportunities arise, they overlook them, dismiss them, or sabotage them. On the other hand, a person who says, "I always meet the right connections at the right time," conditions their subconscious to scan the world for those opportunities, and suddenly they notice them everywhere. Is it coincidence, or is it expectation at work? Think of expectation like a tuning fork. Strike it, and it vibrates at a certain pitch. Place it near another tuning fork, and the second begins to vibrate at the same frequency. Your expectation sets the pitch of your life, and opportunities vibrating at that same frequency are drawn to you. That is why two people can walk into the same interview room, one expecting rejection, one expecting success, and leave with entirely different outcomes. The environment may be identical, but their inner expectancy shapes how the world responds. Do you see how dangerous negative expectation can be? To say, "It probably won't work," is to prepare failure in advance. To say, "People like me never succeed," is to lock the very doors you hope will open. Negative expectation poisons every attempt before it begins, yet positive expectation acts like a golden key. It doesn't guarantee effort, free success, but it guarantees that you enter every space with the energy most likely to attract it. Some may argue, but isn't expecting too much just setting myself up for disappointment? No, it is not expectation that hurts you. It is doubt that wounds you. When expectation is pure, strong, and unwavering, even delays feel like part of the journey. You don't collapse because the timing feels late. You trust that what you expect is still unfolding. The one who doubts, however, expects failure dressed as hope, and so disappointment follows swiftly. Have you noticed how children expect? A child does not plant a seed and then say, "It probably won't grow." No, the child waters it eagerly, watches it daily, and expects green shoots to appear. And they do. Why, then, as adults, do we lose this sacred expectancy? Why do we trade certainty for cynicism, hope for hesitation, confidence for complaint? If you want to manifest your career path, you must guard your expectation as carefully as you guard your words. Ask yourself constantly, what am I truly expecting right now? Am I expecting the phone to stay silent? Or am I expecting a call that changes everything? Am I expecting to be overlooked? Or am I expecting to stand out like a diamond among stones? Expectation has a flavor, a fragrance. It clings to you, and others sense it instantly. Employers, interviewers, co-workers, they all respond not just to your skills, but to the silent expectancy wrapped around you. Look at history's greatest achievers, scientists, leaders, inventors, artists. They all carried fierce expectation. The inventor expected his creation to work, even when others mocked him. The leader expected victory, even when defeat seemed inevitable. The artist expected recognition, even when the world ignored them, and time proved their expectancy correct. Expectation is the womb of miracles. It births the reality that persistence alone cannot. So, how do you train yourself in the law of expectancy? Begin by declaring daily, "I expect good news today. I expect opportunities to appear. I expect to be guided to the right people and places." These declarations rewire your inner climate. Then act as though what you expect is already coming. Dress the part, prepare your resume with care, rehearse your answers as if the interview is certain. Your preparation becomes a living testimony of your expectation. Never forget, expectation is not passive wishing. It is active belief. To expect is to stand with open hands, ready to receive. To expect is to move with confidence, knowing the outcome belongs to you. To expect is to walk through life not with fear of what may go wrong, but with faith in what must go right. So I ask you, what are you expecting right now? Are you expecting rejection, disappointment, scarcity? Or are you expecting acceptance, success, abundance? Your answer will write tomorrow's story. Expect small, and you will receive small. Expect greatly, and the universe cannot help but meet you at the level of your belief. Expectation is law. Align with it, and watch your career unfold as if destiny itself had been waiting for your command. Have you ever knocked on a door that simply refused to open? Have you pushed, begged, and wrestled with life, only to find the harder you fought, the tighter things seem to lock? This is where the law of non-resistance enters, an invisible law that whispers, stop fighting closed doors and let them go, for what is yours will not resist you. How often do we insist, I must have this job, this company, this title? And when it doesn't come, we crumble as if destiny itself has betrayed us. Yet what if that rejection was not failure at all? What if that denial was protection, redirection, even preparation? The law of non-resistance teaches us to release struggle, to trust that life is guiding us toward what is truly aligned, rather than forcing us to cling to what was never ours. Picture a river. Its waters flow with grace, winding around stones, curving through valleys, finding their way to the sea. The river never argues with the rock in its path. It does not stop, scream, or resist. It flows around, and in doing so, it keeps moving forward. But how many of us live like stagnant pools, stuck because we resist the rocks of life? Instead of flowing around obstacles, we slam against them again and again, exhausting our spirit. Think of the job seeker who faces rejection and says, I must have that role. Why didn't they pick me? They replay the pain endlessly, feeding anger and despair. Resistance keeps them chained to what has already passed. Meanwhile, another seeker hears no, and calmly thinks, then that role was not mine. Something better awaits. They release the closed door, and in releasing it, they move freely toward the open one. Can you feel the difference? One is trapped in struggle, the other walks in peace. Why is resistance so destructive? Because it binds your energy to the past. When you resist, you wrestle with shadows. You argue with something that no longer exists. That rejection letter is done. That closed door is shut. Yet resistance ties your heart to it, draining the very energy you need to pursue the next step. Have you noticed how heavy you feel when you cling to disappointment? That heaviness is the weight of resistance. Let it go, and instantly you feel lighter, freer, stronger. Do you know what happens when you stop resisting? Life opens unexpected doors. The job you thought was perfect may have been a trap of misery. The role you lost may have freed you for something far greater. The friendship that ended may have released you into new connections that uplift your spirit. Isn't it astonishing that the very things we cry over sometimes turn out to be our greatest blessings? Non-resistance does not mean weakness. It does not mean giving up or living passively. It means trusting the flow instead of wrestling with it. It means acting with faith, not with fear. Imagine standing in a current of water. If you resist, the current knocks you down. If you flow with it, you move with grace. Which life do you want? The one where every no breaks you, or the one where every no simply guides you closer to the right yes? How many of us waste years clinging to one vision of success? It must be this company, this career, this plan. Yet when life blocks it, perhaps it is only because your destiny lies elsewhere. The law of non-resistance asks, will you trust enough to release the form so the essence of your desire can come in a better way? Perhaps you prayed for a secure job, but life closed the door on the one you wanted, only to open a higher, paying, more fulfilling role elsewhere. Was that rejection cruel, or was it divine timing disguised as disappointment? Non-resistance also means releasing resentment. Have you noticed how anger at the past locks you in place? You say, that company treated me unfairly. And what happens? You relive the pain daily, you replay the unfairness, you poison your own hope. What if instead you said, that experience is behind me, I bless it and release it? Immediately, your spirit rises, your eyes turn forward. Your heart opens again to possibility. Do you see how resistance to pain prolongs suffering while release ends it? Think about it. When you cling to what is gone, your hands are too full to receive what is coming. You must open your hands, let go of the closed door, and then, and only then, will you be able to grasp the new opportunity waiting for you. Isn't it strange that we often resist the very letting go that would set us free? Non-resistance requires courage. It is easy to fight, to argue, to complain. It is harder to trust, harder to release, harder to surrender. But surrender is not defeat. It is wisdom. It is saying, I will not waste my life fighting what is gone. I choose to trust that what is mine cannot be taken. And with that trust, you walk lightly into the future, unburdened by yesterday's battles. Consider the butterfly. The caterpillar resists the cocoon. It fears the darkness, the ending of its old self. But only when it surrenders, only when it stops fighting the transformation, does it emerge with wings. Isn't your life the same? Perhaps the rejection, the pause, the waiting. It feels like darkness, like an ending. But if you resist it, you stay trapped. If you surrender to it, you emerge renewed, stronger, ready for flight. Ask yourself, where in your life are you still resisting? Which closed doors do you keep knocking on, even though they remain shut? Which rejections do you replay in your mind, poisoning today with the memory of yesterday? What would happen if you finally said, I release it, I trust, I flow? Can you feel the freedom that would surge into your spirit? Non-resistance is a law. When you stop fighting, life carries you forward. When you stop clinging to loss, life fills your hands with gain. When you stop resenting rejection, life reveals redirection. Do you see it now? What you thought was against you may have been working for you all along. So when the next door closes, when the next no comes, when the next rejection letter lands in your inbox, don't collapse in despair. Don't fight the closed door. Smile, breathe, and say, thank you. This door was not mine. The one that belongs to me will not resist me. Then release it completely and step boldly into the river of life, trusting it will carry you exactly where you are meant to go. Have you ever noticed how the human mind cannot hold two opposite thoughts at the same time? You cannot feel gratitude and bitterness together. You cannot feel faith and fear in the same breath. This is the essence of the law of substitution. What you dwell upon, you amplify, and what you replace, you dissolve. Imagine a dark room. The moment you bring in light, does the darkness fight to stay? No, it vanishes instantly. The same is true of your thoughts. Fear, worry, and doubt are like shadows. But the moment you introduce faith, gratitude, and expectancy, those shadows dissolve. Isn't that astonishing? You don't have to wrestle with fear. You only need to substitute it with faith. Consider the job seeker who whispers, I'll never be hired. The economy is collapsing. I'm not good enough. What grows stronger? Fear, insecurity, paralysis. But imagine if at that very moment they substituted that thought with, the right job is already making its way to me. I am prepared, I am capable, I am aligned with opportunity. Do you see how the energy shifts? One thought pulls you downward, the other lifts you upward. Which one will you feed? The law of substitution is not about denial. It is about choice. The fearful thought may appear, but you don't have to serve it tea and let it stay. You can say, no, I choose a higher thought. Isn't it powerful that you hold this ability? The power to redirect your mind at any moment, the power to shift the channel of your consciousness. If your mind were a radio, would you leave it stuck on static? Or would you tune it to the station that fills your spirit with harmony? Why is substitution so vital in career and success? Because your outer world is always a reflection of your inner state. If you constantly dwell on failure, rejection, lack, How can your actions flow with confidence? How can your voice in an interview carry conviction if your mind is shouting, "I'll never make it"? But when you substitute that inner narrative with one of courage and expectancy, suddenly your outer world begins to shift. Employers sense it. Opportunities respond to it. The universe itself aligns with it. Have you ever noticed how thoughts multiply when you feed them? One anxious thought about tomorrow's interview suddenly breeds 10 more. What if they don't like me? What if I stumble? What if I'm underqualified? Before you know it, your whole being is drenched in fear. But what if you interrupted that spiral at the very first thought? What if you said, "Stop. I substitute this fear with faith. I substitute this worry with a vision of myself walking confidently into the room and being well received"? Wouldn't your entire energy shift? The law of substitution is practical. Next time doubt creeps in, say to yourself, "I replace this with confidence." Next time you think, "I am failing," immediately replace it with, "I am learning, I am progressing, I am closer than ever." Your mind is like a fertile field. It will grow whatever seed you plant. Why would you plant weeds when you can plant flowers? Why would you water despair when you can nurture hope? Think of a candle. One small flame can fill an entire room with light. The law of substitution works the same way. One powerful, positive thought can neutralize an entire storm of negativity. Isn't it incredible that one moment of faith can outweigh hours of fear? But here is the secret. Substitution requires consistency. You cannot replace one negative thought and then allow 1,000 more to run unchecked. You must train the mind like a gardener tends his field. When weeds appear, pull them quickly and plant flowers in their place. When fear appears, replace it swiftly with faith. When anger appears, replace it with forgiveness. When self-doubt arises, substitute it with self-belief. Do this daily, hourly if needed, until substitution becomes a habit. Have you ever noticed how your body follows your mind? If you dwell on fear, your shoulders slump, your chest tightens, your breath shortens. But when you substitute that thought with one of confidence, your posture shifts, your energy strengthens, your eyes brighten. Can you see how substitution not only changes your inner state, but transforms your outer presence too? This is why employers are drawn to those who radiate assurance. Their inner substitution is shining outward. Do you remember a time when worry consumed you, and then suddenly a hopeful thought entered, and everything felt lighter? That is substitution in action. The mind cannot hold two masters. The moment hope arrives, despair must leave. The moment gratitude enters, complaint dissolves. The moment love arises, fear retreats. Isn't it magnificent that life has given you this tool? Let's make it practical. Suppose you tell yourself, "I am not qualified." Substitute with, "I am constantly learning and I am exactly where I need to be." Suppose you say, "I'll never find a job." Substitute with, "The right position is preparing for me right now." Suppose you say, "Everything is against me." Substitute with, "Everything is guiding me." Over time, these substitutions rewire your entire consciousness. And when the inner world shifts, the outer must follow. Why must the outer follow? Because your beliefs shape your actions. If you substitute despair with determination, you will apply with energy instead of hesitation. If you substitute fear with faith, you will speak with boldness instead of trembling. If you substitute doubt with vision, you will persevere where others quit. Isn't it astonishing how the simple act of substitution can alter destiny itself? And remember this, substitution is not pretending. It is not lying to yourself. It is aligning yourself with truth. Fear whispers lies, "You are not enough." Faith speaks truth, "You are more than enough." Doubt hisses, "The world is against you." Vision declares, "Life is guiding you." Which voice will you allow to dominate your life? So whenever you catch yourself spiraling into the dark, stop, breathe, and substitute. Replace the shadow with light. Replace despair with hope. Replace rejection with redirection. Replace fear with faith. Do this again and again until your mind becomes a temple of strength. For as surely as darkness flees before light, so too will negativity flee before your substitution. Have you ever wondered why certain doors open only when they do? Why one job slips away only for another to appear months later, perfectly aligned with your skills and destiny? This is no accident. It is the mysterious rhythm of divine timing at work. Life does not operate on human impatience. It flows according to higher order. You may plant a seed today, but can you command it to bloom tomorrow? No. You must trust the season, the soil, the sun, the rain. In the same way, your career, your opportunities, your breakthroughs unfold according to a timing greater than your clock. Isn't that both humbling and empowering? The law of divine timing tells us nothing arrives too early, nothing arrives too late. It arrives right on time, but how difficult it is to accept this when we are desperate for results. You wait for the call back from the interview, and silence feels like rejection. You apply for jobs and receive no response, and discouragement takes root. Yet what if those delays were not denials, but redirections? What if the silence was making space for something larger than you could imagine? Picture the butterfly. If you open the cocoon too early, you destroy its wings. But if you trust nature's timing, it emerges fully formed, ready to soar. Isn't your career the same? You may feel trapped in waiting, but that waiting is forming your wings. Rushing the process can cripple the outcome. Patience, therefore, is not weakness. It is strength. It is faith in action. But here is the paradox. While divine timing works perfectly, many fail to align with it because they oscillate between doubt and impatience. They plant seeds of faith one day and uproot them the next with fear. How can harvest come if you never allow the seed to grow? What if, instead of questioning when, you affirmed, "All things are aligning for me at the perfect moment"? Doesn't that thought feel lighter, more powerful, more liberating? Think of the job seeker who faces rejection after rejection. It feels unbearable, but years later, they often look back and say, "If I had been hired at that company, I would have missed this incredible path I am on now." Haven't you seen how what once felt like failure revealed itself as protection? The law of divine timing ensures that what is meant for you cannot be lost, and what is not meant for you cannot be forced. Isn't that a relief? Now ask yourself, do you really want what you are asking for before you are prepared? Would you truly want the responsibility of the dream job if your skills, confidence, and resilience were not yet developed? Timing protects you as much as it blesses you. The waiting seasons are not punishment. They are preparation. What if every delay you face is a divine classroom, building the qualities you will need for the opportunity ahead? Doesn't that change the way you see waiting? Consider this. When a farmer plants seeds, he does not dig them up every day to check progress. He waters, he nurtures, he trusts. Can you do the same with your career path? Can you water your dreams daily with faith, effort, and positive expectation, and trust that at the right moment the harvest will break through? But divine timing also requires alignment. If you are meant to catch a train at 6 p.m., you must still show up at the station. You cannot arrive at midnight and complain about fate. Likewise, the right job, the right opportunity, the right breakthrough may be scheduled for you, but are you preparing yourself to receive it? Are you sharpening your skills, refining your confidence, expanding your vision? Divine timing is not passive waiting. It is active preparation. And isn't it true that sometimes life gives you small doors to walk through before the big one opens? That internship, that temporary role, that unexpected project, it may not look like the dream, but it is part of the sequence. If you dismiss it as too small, you may miss the stepping stone to something greater. Divine timing weaves these steps together. Nothing is wasted. Every experience is a thread in the larger design. Why do people struggle with this law? Because the human heart wants control. We want the job today, the promotion tomorrow, the recognition instantly. But isn't it often the case that instant success crumbles quickly, while carefully prepared success lasts a lifetime? That is why the law exists, to give you not just speed but stability. Think about the seasons. You cannot force spring to arrive in winter. You cannot demand harvest in planting season, yet you trust nature's cycles. Can you not trust the cycles of your own destiny the same way? When the winter of waiting feels long, remind yourself, spring always comes, summer always arrives, harvest is inevitable when the seeds are planted. Doesn't that fill you with assurance? Now let's make it practical. Suppose you are in a job search and nothing seems to be moving. Instead of sinking into despair, declare, I trust the process. Every day brings me closer to the right door. I am not late. I am not behind. I am perfectly on schedule. Doesn't such a declaration bring peace to your spirit? It calms the restless mind, and when your mind is calm, you see opportunities more clearly. Remember, too, divine timing is not only about waiting for what is coming. It is also about being spared from what is wrong. Sometimes the door closes not because you lack, but because the path ahead would have harmed you. Isn't that protection? How many times have you been grateful in hindsight that something did not work out? The law saved you from a deed, who you could not see. The law of divine timing whispers, be patient, be ready, be trusting. When the hour strikes, everything will converge. The right place, the right people, the right opportunity. You cannot miss what belongs to you. Doesn't that truth give you strength to continue, even in silence, even in rejection, even in waiting? So when the mind screams, why not now? Answer it gently, because the best is still forming, the stage is still being set, and when it is ready, it will appear. Isn't that a far greater comfort than clinging to impatience? Divine timing is not your enemy, it is your ally. It protects you, it prepares you, it positions you. Trust it, align with it, work with it, and when the appointed hour comes, you will walk into your opportunity not half formed, but fully ready. Have you ever noticed how every great achievement begins twice? First in the mind, and only later in the world. Isn't that astonishing? Before the skyscraper touched the clouds, it lived as a vision in an architect's heart. Before the novel filled the shelves, it existed as images in the writer's imagination. Before the new invention changed history, it whispered in the mind of a dreamer. Doesn't that reveal something powerful? The outer world is born from the inner world. The invisible shapes the visible. This is the law of vision and imagination. It declares, what you consistently see within yourself, you eventually call into form. Your career path, your opportunities, your very success, do they not all begin in the imagination? If you cannot see it inwardly, how can you seize it outwardly? Isn't it true that those who believe themselves capable often achieve far more than those who doubt, even if their skills are equal? Why? Because vision leads the way. But here is the tragedy. Most people use imagination against themselves. Instead of envisioning success, they rehearse failure. Instead of picturing confidence, they replay insecurity. They visualize rejection before the interview even begins. They picture not enough before opportunity arrives. And then they wonder why doors remain closed. Isn't that like a painter who keeps putting dark colors on the canvas but expects a masterpiece? So what if you dared to discipline your imagination? What if you painted in your mind the exact career you long for, the environment, the colleagues, the impact you make, the satisfaction you feel? What if you lived in that vision so deeply that it began to feel real? The universe responds not to empty words, but to the vibration of conviction. And isn't imagination the furnace where conviction is forged? Imagine the job seeker who walks into an interview already defeated in thought. Their posture is heavy, their words uncertain. Compare them with the one who, in the quiet of their mind, has already seen themselves walking confidently into that room, already pictured the handshake, already felt the success. Who do you think leaves a stronger impression? Isn't the difference simply the power of vision at work? But vision is not only for the final outcome, it is also for the daily journey. Do you see yourself learning, growing, stretching into your potential? Or do you see yourself stuck, powerless, overlooked? The picture you hold is the prophecy you fulfill. Doesn't that stir something deep within you? Now think
Que no
about
lo quiero.
this. Your imagination is limitless. It is not bound by your past failures, by your current limitations, or by the opinions of others. It can soar beyond what statistics say, beyond what logic permits. Isn't that incredible? The world may tell you that your chances are slim, but your imagination can hold a vision so bold that reality has no choice but to rise to meet it. History is filled with men and women who imagined the impossible and then lived it. Why not you? But here is the secret. Your vision must be clear, not vague. Saying, "I want a job," is like saying, "I want food." It is too general. But if you imagine a role where your creativity flows, where your skills are valued, where your financial needs are met and exceeded, your mind begins to shape a path toward it. Can't you feel the difference between a foggy desire and a sharp, vibrant picture? Which one has the power to magnetize reality? Yet vision is more than daydreaming. It is disciplined imagination fueled by belief. To see yourself successful once and then collapse into doubt is like planting a seed one day and digging it up the next. Can a tree grow this way? Vision demands consistency. The more often you return to it, the stronger it imprints on your subconscious. And when your subconscious is convinced, your actions, your words, your very aura shift to align with it. Isn't that the secret behind magnetic people, the ones who draw opportunities as if by chance? And isn't it amazing how imagination does not just attract the future, it transforms the present. The moment you begin to see yourself as capable, you carry yourself differently. The moment you envision yourself worthy, you speak with more authority. The vision in your mind leaks into your body, your tone, your choices. Even before the outer reality shifts, the inner one reshapes you. Isn't that power available to you right now? But many will ask, what if my vision is too big? What if it feels unrealistic? To that I say, what is realistic anyway? Was it realistic for electricity to light the world before someone envisioned it? Was it realistic for flying machines to soar the skies before the Wright brothers imagined it? Every innovation, every revolution, every great leap was once mocked as unrealistic. Isn't the label unrealistic often just the boundary of another person's imagination, not yours? Still, let us be wise. Vision is not an escape from effort. It is the fuel for it. To imagine success and then sit idle is fantasy, but to imagine success and let that vision energize your preparation, your persistence, your boldness, that is power. Isn't it true that when your vision is strong enough, you find strength you didn't know you had? You wake earlier, you prepare harder, you persist longer. Why? Because the picture in your mind makes quitting unthinkable. And let us not forget, vision has companions, words and actions. To see yourself successful, but to speak words of failure is like rowing a boat in two directions. Do your words support your vision or sabotage it? When you say, "I'll never get hired," aren't you painting with dark colors over your masterpiece? But when you say, "The right role is aligning for me. I see it, I claim it, I prepare for it," aren't you strengthening the vision? So ask yourself, what images dominate your imagination daily? Do you see yourself rejected, stuck, defeated? Or do you see yourself rising, thriving, succeeding? The choice is yours, and the choice determines your future. The law of vision and imagination whispers, dare to see beyond what is. Dare to hold in your mind a picture brighter than your present. Dare to return to it daily, to nourish it, to let it become so alive in you that reality has no option but to take form. Isn't that the true creative power we have been given? And when discouragement comes, and it will, do not abandon your vision, return to it, strengthen it, imagine again, because every time you do, you are laying another brick in the unseen foundation. And when the moment arrives, the structure will rise before your eyes. So let your imagination be your architect, Let your vision be your compass. Let your inner pictures outshine your outer limitations. Because what you dare to see, you will one day dare to be. Isn't that the greatest secret of all? How swiftly opportunity begins to align. Words are seeds, and your career is the harvest.